Time bomb. Right.
Welcome, guys, at 6:15. We'll call this meeting to order. If everybody's reviewed the minutes, do I have a motion?
Move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Mr. Carl, what do we
Yeah,
have in front of us?
this will be quick. There hadn't been any change since last month.
Okay. That is very quick. Moving on down to number 4, old business, secretary replacement. We had the conversation, and Janet, you confirmed we don't have to have someone brought in for that, so
Correct.
we can take volunteers on the board if we desire.
Yes.
If Shannon wants to continue with what she's doing, she can desires that. So is anybody open to wanting to take that role on?
So that really just consists of like taking notes down of what we talk about,
Yeah, the minutes.
but then I have to type it all up.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I would say, because I do love taking notes, but typing it up and printing it, I know I just wouldn't have the time right now.
Okay. We still can, get somebody outside, but again, we certainly don't have to do that. Somebody from the board can serve in that role.
Possibly can talk to my sister about it.
Okay.
She loves taking notes too, so
Okay.
I'll ask her and see what she says.
Okay. Then I don't have it on here, Andy, but I was going to have Shannon give a brief update on the farmer's market and kind of where she's at. I know she's been working hard on that and securing vendors. I think she's looking at May as a start, potentially.
Okay.
Okay, so I started small on Facebook as far as promoting it because a lot of vendors will come out of the woodworks. Once I did post it on Facebook, we had 77 shares. The whole community is excited, and people want to sell produce to insurance at the farmer's market. I've received about 7 or so applications. A lot of these people are at the other local markets. We are going to have food trucks. I have Butter Dutter scheduled for the very first one. I'm hoping people see the Blue Moo and decide to come on down and also venture out to the market. I'm trying to not duplicate people because I know that people will get mad about that. So I've brought somebody on, which is Brandy, who's one of the vendors who reached out to me. I've been going through applications with her. So far we have about 7. And I've been reaching out to Capragia, the cheese company out of Roopville or Carrollton, and Ithaca Beef over here in Villa Rica. Somebody in Dallas reached out to sell meat. I just haven't heard back yet. But we're rocking and rolling, and I'm shooting for May 2nd.
So how many vendors are you how many are you shooting for? Well, you got 7 now, but how many are you trying to get?
I'm hoping to have about 15.
Okay.
That's my goal to start. And then I don't necessarily want to turn people away after that if it's one of a kind. But I'm definitely trying to keep it to produce, seasoning, canned vegetables, meat, those types of things. I've only gotten a few arts and craft vendors, but I've heard it turns into an arts and craft market once you have too many of those people. So
you turning those away, or you just?
not turning them away. I'm still taking applications. I think I have one in here for candles. But I'm just not necessarily marketing for those because those find you.
Yep. Okay.
What about food trucks? I know you mentioned ice cream, but do we have legitimate food options yet?
I only have Butter Dutter for May 2nd. I can see what I can find for the next one. They book their schedules out very far in advance, so I will see what I can do.
Okay.
We do have a coffee vendor. Some girl is trying to get accredited to sell eggs. We have fresh flowers, canned vegetables, jams, herbs, soaps, lotions, pickled veggies, fruit pie fillings, all kinds of things. So
Like this, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
The soaps and lotion, like I know a couple people that were patients at a chiropractic office that I used to work at, and a lot of them do the farmers market in Douglasville. A lot of them make like the fresh soaps and stuff like that. You would be open to those coming in as well?
Yes, but I'm only
Just
going to
like a
do like
limited-
one or two.
Okay. So I'll talk to them if they want to reach out to you.
Sounds good.
Has the city made any progress on streamlining the certifications for food trucks? I know that was a problem, and they're talking about it, but I don't know where they are on that.
It's still Mondays, and as far as I know, it's $150 for the annual food permit to be in the city. Now with Main Street, we don't require that type of stuff. We just require a vendor fee for every single event. But I was thinking $50 weekly at the farmer's market. So I don't know if $150 annual fee plus a $50 weekly fee would be too much. But I can find out.
Is it because it's an event with Main Street that y'all can get that waived for the food truck fee? Or,
Is that why?
It's never been a requirement for us to have that.
how do we get that same requirement? Or pass, I guess?
We'll have to ask.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
curious. I mean, if we can get that benefit, it would probably be more enticing.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion?
And this, there's an item down here later, sip and shop. The farmer's market would be eligible for sip and shop up and down this area?
It would. It's part of
Yes.
the entertainment district, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good call, yeah.
Right. I mean, so what we typically do, Michael, when we have events, although we are an entertainment district now, it does stop at this road. So we do have to go in front of the city council when we're wanting to do alcohol at the events. We still have to go through that process. Technically, the entertainment district stops at the police department.
Okay.
I like that idea, though.
Yeah.
You get more sales when you drink.
Yep. Well, I mean, just remember, this is a fundraiser for the DDA, so anything we make will go back into our account as we move forward and try to raise money for different things that we're doing. So, yeah.
Any other comments? Thank you. for
Good
your-
job, Shannon. Thank you.
Miss Janet, moving on down, I believe that's you.
So Dan McRae was going to speak to us at this meeting, and I think I sent you guys a note and said that he had a conflict in his schedule, and his assistant apologized and said that he would definitely be able to come to the April meeting. So he is coming, and we still have time to gather our questions and anything you guys want to ask him. This is a wonderful opportunity to do that, and he is a wealth of knowledge. From everything to the DDA to a TAD. If you want to ask him about the TAD, he's an expert in that as well. So I'm looking forward to him coming out in April.
Can I make a request that we come up as a group with questions and ideas and thoughts by April 15th to bring up at that meeting? Whether we start an email chain and go back and forth so we can get some ideas so we're not just sitting here coming off the hip trying to ask some things.
Yep.
So if I can ask that of y'all, if we can do that by April 15th, just have some more concrete ideas on what we're going to talk about and questions we're going to have for them.
I might have them to you by April 19th.
I'll forgive you, Carl. I do understand. Well, perfect. And Janet, any leading up to things that we might not even think about as you see things and questions coming through? I think that would be helpful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, anything you guys send me in advance, I'll send to him, and he can probably prepare some sort of presentation or something like that if you guys wanted him to do that as well.
That would be nice.
Perfect. Any other comments? We'll move on.
We still have the one application. We haven't received any more DDA applications. We certainly, there's no rush to fill the spot. We can certainly take our time on that and try to gain more applications if that's the will of the board. Just let us know.
Okay.
Okay? Andy?
All right.
This next one's yours.
Yeah. So this was brought up a year and a half, 2 years ago with charging stations, not from a environmental standpoint or any other standpoint other than the fact that electric cars are coming, whether we like it or not, whether we care for the impact of anything of that. But I'd rather someone park here in downtown than park at Burger King. And
Right.
we're about to have a lot more traffic coming through with the new development. We might be able to find some funding within the Build Back Better plan. I have no idea if they have anything, any kind of grants available for that.
I think Georgia Power initially, Andy, when we talked to them about it probably 2 years ago, and then
Yep.
since then they've changed over representatives, and so we're working with two different people now. But I think Georgia Power offers some sort of I'm not sure if it's straight money, but some sort of opportunity there. We just have to set up another meeting with them. I feel like when their CEO comes to speak at our leadership luncheon,
That'd be a good
there'll probably be
opportunity.
about 18 people there from Georgia Power. I'm sure one of them will be able to assist us with that question and what we can do to, get grant money or something from them to come in and put. The initial thought was that I think they would cover two, is
Okay.
the initial thought.
Two's better than none.
Do we know where we'd like to put them?
Well, I think when we talked to them about it, there were certain locations that were the most impactful, and I think the two we talked about ended up being in front of our office at the Avanti building. There's two spaces there that were probably right actually on Temple Street, and I think that was the initial ideal spot for them to go at the time, and we certainly can revisit that.
Rome, where we're visiting tomorrow, has electric car chargers, so I'll ask tomorrow how they
Yep.
Okay.
And they're big partners with Georgia Power too, so I'm sure they were helpful to them in getting those going.
All right, any more comments on that? So next one down is Sip and Shop. Very much like your idea, Michael, with that, if we can arrange that for the farmer's market. I wasn't even thinking along that, but my question would be, do the vendors on this side that are in the entertainment district even know the idea, the options, and the availability of what they have? I mean, to be able to set up on a curb and catch people walking down the street shopping, that would, I would think, Maury, would be a wonderful option for a restaurant.
Yeah,
And then-
everybody that's in an entertainment district, we've alerted them on several occasions, and I think people are still hesitant, like, oh, I can't do that? Yes, you can.
Okay.
In fact, we encourage you to do that.
Yeah.
we do
And the
it
only
for-
requirement is we have is that you have the Main Street Cup, so
Okay.
that everybody knows. And we have, we make sure that the restaurants have some, as far as Uncorked, Lost Cowboys, and then Hickstown, we always make sure they have those cups.
Yeah.
And that would be our only requirement, so that the police department is aware that
That's what they're drinking.
Just
that's
walking
in,
around
yeah,
drinking? Yeah.
exactly.
Southern Home, the new boutique on the corner, I guess, would they know
Welcome
about
Home,
that?
they're aware.
Welcome Home, sorry, okay.
They're aware.
I don't know why I said
Yeah.
Southern Home.
Everybody on that street
Okay.
is aware.
Okay.
Yes.
I just look at that as an opportunity. I never see anybody out taking advantage of that. I know a lot of the retail's across the tracks, and we're missing some of that being split. but-
Right.
Okay.
If
And
we
there-
can come up with enough money to do the crossover bridge and get that going, then we're set on the other side as far as entertainment
So
district.
that's
We gotta
the
come up
only
with that
issue
money.
is we can't safely cross the tracks?
Correct.
Okay.
Every time I passed one of those beautiful bridges in Mexico, I was like, Villarica, this could be us.
Well, we need to address not only that, but also the sidewalk situation over there. They're not wide enough. The sidewalks are not wide enough, so all that has to be addressed. And hopefully some of that gets addressed in the LCI study. But the bridge would be a game changer for sure.
Okay. On the crossing for the railroad tracks, next item would be some kind of safe crossing. I know we talked about how DOT is doing a study out here. Has anything come of that? Are they going to redo anything at this intersection? Is that later to come?
That would probably be a question for Tom.
Okay.
I know that he deals with them quite a bit. I know Chris Montesino's and working with he and I working together, and him specifically doing LCI, that's going to be part of it as well, having to fix all that, right? So Tom, has more conversations with DOT than myself, but that's certainly a question we need to pose to them. I know they've heard it before, but it's easy to see that that's not safe there.
Yeah. No, I don't dream of crossing there, but crossing in the middle of Candler Street is not safe either. You have to
Right.
poke your head out and hope nobody's right there when you poke your head out the first time. But like in Carrollton, I was there a couple of weeks ago, and you press the little button, you have the flashing lights,
Yep.
letting motorists at
Absolutely.
least know somebody's there or trying to be there. So could we consider something like that, even if this intersection is going to be redone? We have a crossing there.
Yeah.
Why would we make everybody walk down the street and then back down the street?
Yeah. Well, the two factors always with us, most people have to deal with GDOT. We have to deal with GDOT and the railroad, and those are going to be the two parties that we'll have to go through to get that done.
Okay. Do we have a better relationship with the railroad?
Much better. Yes. Yes. Well, it's sort of like, changing over. Like when I finally got the gateway sign signed off, in between that time and when I first started approaching them about that, there was 4 different representatives within that time. So the final representative that we deal with now is the one that actually got that done. But, it took 5 years. So
Okay.
we're working on it. We're always working on it.
All right, any other comments? Perfect, moving on down to number 6. I would like to, and it could be me, I know Carl, you and I sat down with Tom last year, but somehow open a line of communication between us and the city and city manager and any other entity that we're having to deal with. We can come up with the greatest ideas sitting here and we can start trying to make progress on it. But if it's going against what another plan is, we're not going to get anywhere. We've got to come up with some ideas. And like I said, I don't mind going and sitting down and talking with anybody, but having a conversation of, hey, where are we in a realistic plan? What can we work on? What can we do to make it better for downtown that would assist in your plan, not go against your plan?
Right.
Would Tom ever consider coming to these meetings?
He has, and he actually came a couple meeting before last and talked about the TAD. So yeah, I mean certainly, and he would. I don't, his schedule's kind of crazy with everything going on.
As a secretary. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's just telling him that we want him to speak about something specific, and he's more than happy to do that. The last time we said, can you come talk about the TAD, and he certainly can do that. And if we want him to talk about something else specific, or we have questions, I'll just let him know and make sure that he's here.
But I mean, I'm thinking a big overall picture, we
Yeah.
got the LCI and
Yep.
all those things floating around. What can we put something in place that's tangible? What can we do and what can we start moving forward?
I think the best thing for you guys to do, and we talked about this last year, is set some goals for the DDA, and then bring them before your city manager and your maybe the mayor, and say, listen, this is our goals and this is what we want to do. I mean, obviously for us it starts with fundraising and getting some money in our account would be really helpful. And then from there, what's our next plan? What do we foresee that's attainable within the next year or so? And I think that's where we start, is you guys come up with something that you want to get done, that you think you could work with the city with. I mean, it takes teamwork. I think in my meeting last week, my training, you can't get nothing done by yourself. It takes a team. It takes a lot of people, and so that's what we're going to need. It's going to be teamwork between our board, Main Street Board, City Council, Mayor, City Manager to get some stuff done for sure.
I don't have a time frame set on that, so if we want to readdress this next meeting, if y'all want to come with some ideas, stuff we can talk about that I can, or whomever wants to go with me, we can go sit down and have a conversation.
And this is something maybe you talk to Dan about and say, hey Dan, we want to really start to get some stuff done, and where can we start, and what goals should we set? What goals are attainable within a year, 2 years, 5 years? I think those are great questions for him too. I mean, he is certainly the expert on that, and can lead us in the right direction, get us going.
I agree. Okay. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on. Next is, item 6 is public comment. We've got one person in the audience. Do you have
Ma'am,
any
would you like to
comments?
make a public comment? Okay.
Perfect.
We always like to ask. Okay.
All right, next up is items for future agenda.
So we'll do another revisit on the farmer's market in April, just to give you guys a a heads up before we start, really pushing the marketing on that further.
It was put in the city newsletter and sent out, I believe it was supposed to be sent out, to Times Georgian, the Douglas County Sentinel, and city menus last week. So we've started some marketing, but I'm getting ready to visit some Lions clubs and any kind of club that I can to also spread the word there too. Yes, I know, I looked right at him. I need to get on the agenda.
And is there a date for that, or is it just in May, or what's?
First
2nd.
Monday in May.
First Monday in May, okay.
May 2nd.
Next meeting, can we get an update on this street out here and its one-way and restriping, and where are we?
Yes, so I know that there was a meeting with one of the engineers that the city works for or works with to address the water issues that are in front of Lost Cowboys and Main, Uncorked on Main. It becomes a river out there. So they're working with him to come up with a plan of action on how to fix that. I know that meeting occurred a couple of weeks ago, but yes, I know it's on the city engineer's list of this has got to be restriped and made a one-way. I think, like we've talked about before, and I know the council's for it. I would say the majority of the council's for it. So we just got to get it done. Yeah.
Just hoping for some sign of progress on the things that we've all put together in RSVP and LCI and all that other stuff. Just a little bit of progress.
Absolutely. I
Me,
agree.
for patio's sake, I need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, it starts with that, and also, that entire area where they're at has to be repaved correctly because there's a slope which in turn causes flooding. So all that has to be addressed and fixed for sure. That's why they brought an engineer. In fact, they had lunch over there, Lost Cowboys, a couple weeks ago, just so he could get a visual of
Well,
all of that.
If he comes back on Thursday, I hear we're going to have thunderstorms Thursday. So
a great opportunity for him to get a real visual. Yep.
And the sidewalk.
Yep.
I only have one other
Yes.
question, comment. So it's been now 3 weeks. We had our glass broken on West Wilson Street, like right in front of your shop. So it was done purposely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you file a police report?
We did,
Okay.
and we didn't have cameras then, and like the only cameras we have around the area, like Miss Wendy for Asian Fong's Market, she has it inside, and she has one on the outside, but on the side. And then Yasmin and Tyler for CrossFit, they have them all inside.
Not outside. Okay.
So we put one outside right now for the time being. It ended up that with the storm, it ended up just shattering to the inside.
All right.
But it was done purposely, and the only thing that I noticed there is the street lights. It's not very illuminated around there at night.
Okay.
So I was wondering what we would need to do to ask for more street lights in that area.
So I think it was last year, they went through and put in all new lighting on both sides of the street, LED lighting. But I can ask the city engineer about the lighting over there and see if there's anything that could be done to either add or
I would
make
say
it
like
brighter.
at least like one or two more. It's just like where like the plaza is for them, that side is pretty illuminated. It looks good, but like the whole strip when you drive down, when you start from the stop sign to get to the other side of the stop sign, it just gets a little, especially between the tavern and CrossFit, that little space there is just dark.
Okay.
So I don't know when like the tavern opens up or something, they'll add more light to it. But it was 5 points where it was hit.
Okay.
So it was just like really weird. And it happened while we were working out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It took place during the day too. So what
Okay.
makes us like, what reassures us that it wouldn't happen again at night.
Right.
You know, when it's dark. It was really weird. The police just asked us if we had anybody like who didn't like us. I was like, I couldn't tell you that. There's a lot of people that don't like us.
Yeah, I'll ask the city engineer about
We're
that.
at the keto guy.
I'll ask the city engineer
Yes.
about that. Okay.
Other than that, yeah.
All right, any other comments? Anything else we need to add for next time?
No. Oh, I had one question. This is from a while back. Janet, you had talked to me about like possibly does Fullerville count as part of downtown?
It is not, but it's
Oh,
part of
okay.
the LCI study that we're trying to incorporate. So the goal is to obviously redevelop the downtown and fix it up and then extend out to Fullerville at some point. So
Okay.
that's part one and part two. Part one would be downtown, part two would be Fullerville.
Oh, okay, because I just wanted to suggest like a roundabout in that area too, like they did
Yeah.
over here.
That
Just
would
to make
also-
the flow
yeah.
of traffic there
Yeah,
a lot easier. And if they did do like the roundabout, even on this one, why don't we? I know this is pricey again, and I know with like the pricing for Villarica, but statues that mean something to Villarica at the
Right.
roundabouts,
right.
just to represent Villarica itself.
More beautification on the
Yeah.
roundabouts, yeah, that's been brought up a couple of times.
Okay.
But that also would be a question, not only for the city engineer, but that's also a GDOT
Oh,
issue.
okay.
Yep.
All right, anything else?
That's all I have.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
And I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Work session, I assume, is just left on there? Okay. I didn't know of anything.
Would you like to
So we did make a decision to wait on the DDA applications, right? Be patient, okay. I'm gonna go back to my recruiting, try to get some people.
But we're more